There's no need to drive around South Florida wasting valuable time looking for a new or certified pre-owned Acura. Go to the #1 volume sales dealership in the Southeast United States. Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. Purchase with pace and space in a dealership tailored to your needs. From home buying to providing that personal touch. Contact the 2020 Satisfaction Award winner Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. 888-776-5123. That's 888-776-5123. Or visit them at 15601 Pines Boulevard in Pembroke Pines.
With more than 62 years of litigation experience handling insurance disputes, Welton Rayom is committed to resolving even the toughest insurance claims quickly. At Welton Rayom, they don't get paid unless you win. They handle complex personal injury claims caused by the fault of another in both state and federal courts. They handle auto, trucking, motorcycle, slip and fall, and bicycle accidents. Call 954-966-4646. That's 954-966-4646. Welton Rayom can help.
Welcome to Caneswear.
New store, new items, same great experience. Family owned and operated since 2010, Caneswear has the latest merchandise from the Miami Hurricanes, Miami Dolphins, Florida Panthers, Inter Miami CF, and more. Come visit us at our store in Davie on University Drive, just south of 595, or online at caneswear.com. Caneswear, the spot Miami fans shop.
We are live. It is the AEW All In reaction show. Sorry about that. I had my light turn off on me here in the middle of it. I am Sean Stanley. He is the great Frankie Fresco. Frankie Fresco, the 2024, by the way, IGR Mixed Master Champion, I should say. I gotta get used to saying that before everything now. Frankie, man, bro, what did you think, man?
I was just thrilled with my selection picks. I got one wrong. I mean, two wrong. Obviously, the 12-man gauntlet was the one that it was kind of like up and down. But and then I the scapegoat, man. God damn it, I should have known Jack Perry was gonna win that one. But man, solid. I liked it. I liked it a lot, and I was surprised that the MJF Will Ospreay delivered just as good as the first fight that they had. So I would really like that. Not if there's one little downfall, in my opinion, that I didn't like, and I think I wasn't the only one. If I would have been live, I would have taken a bathroom break as well. That is the Chris Jericho Hook fight. That fight was kind of boring.
I think that the problem with that one was it's just been overplayed so much, man. And then also I felt bad for Mercedes and Britt, because I think the crowd was so worn out from MJF Ospreay. I saw your text to me afterwards. I didn't respond back because I was like, we'll just talk about it in a couple minutes here. But I felt like they had lost that just because of all the ups and downs the match before. They weren't really necessarily behind it because I thought the match wasn't bad. Some things maybe could have been a little bit different.
It's a little bit sloppy.
It was a little sloppy, but at the same time, it wasn't like, compared to the way that crowd was for most of the night, it didn't get a lot of reaction. The Eddie Guerrero spot got them, I thought, the biggest pop of the match, really.
Yep, 100%.
So we're going to dive into everything. Let's just talk from the beginning. Let's just go from what we just saw. Bryan Danielson, and then, again, if you haven't watched AEW All In and you're going to watch it, we're going to have some spoilers here for you because that's the only way we can really do a reaction show. But just in case you're going to go back and watch it, no matter what we say here, I don't know we'll do justice to that pay-per-view. I thought it was an A+ pay-per-view, honestly. Does it have its moments where you're kind of like, of course. But overall, man, I was so happy with the way that a lot of the storylines played out.
Yes.
And they just, it wasn't one of those where you're just going, what? They all, and again, I feel like with the way they did, again, for the top stories, Tony Storm, Mariah May, MJF, Will Ospreay, even Swerve and Bryan Danielson, they could have went either way, and you could have been like, okay, all right, I see it. But they did a good job of still keeping it to where I think they left everything open, really, in a way. Like there was no like solidified, this is over, really, in any of them. You know what I'm saying? Like that's where, for the longest time, my thing with AEW was the matches were phenomenal, but they just weren't leading anywhere. And I felt coming out of this, the next Dynamite, you don't know what could happen or where they're going to go with the storylines. A lot happened. Let's go with the main event. Bryan Danielson against Swerve. Bryan Danielson came out to the final countdown, and I'm so happy to say that I was wrong. I thought if they paid the money for the final countdown, it was going to be the final match. And when I heard it, I was kind of like, damn it. Damn it. No, I don't want to watch this right now. I was like, you're riding on the high and you're like, man, how is this going to end? And so happy, man. So happy. It was a good ending, and I think they sent everybody home. And by the way, kudos to AEW. The production was top level, I thought, tonight. It made it feel bigger. I thought the production was better than it was last year at All In. And it just made it feel like a bigger event. And for a while, though, I thought if you got Pyro, you were winning. But they canceled that with Hangman Adam Page. But everybody else came out the Pyro won. I was like, damn it.
No, and you know what? The cool thing about it is, when he came to the final countdown, I was like, all right, perfect. This is great. You're going to get him. You're going to get the Bryan Danielson. I just don't see it playing out where it's the final countdown and then him losing. I just don't. I don't see that. And that I was happy to see that he won. And shout out to, like you said, AEW. I mean, Swerve, no joke aside. I was thrilled when I saw Bun B out there. I was like, hell yeah, he brought Bun B out there. So I was like, cool, old school rapper. I love it. And like you said, it was way better production than last year. I like the fact that they put the entrance to the side instead of the middle that they did last year. And overall, I like the video montages they did.
Yeah, I thought everything was top notch. Everything down to the entrances, of course, were all great. I mean, the Will Ospreay one was fantastic. The Mercedes Moné I thought was great. Even the ones that really weren't as dramatic, but even like I thought FTR's was cool for everything matched to what the person coming to the ring was. You know what I'm saying? Like even Y2J, man, Chris Jericho, the Learning Tree, the Fozzy playing him out. I thought it was cool. It was good, man. It was good. Now, the match I wasn't all the way into, and we'll probably gloss over that match. But again, some of the things that I did have an issue with, small things, was I don't know that Danielson needed to bleed so early in the match. I'm not saying that he didn't need to at some point in the match, but I thought they did that kind of early. Because again, his career's on the line. So yes, you're giving it your all. You're going to be busted open. You're going to be bleeding everywhere. I just felt like they could have done it at maybe a better spot than what they did it at. It was a Death Valley driver on the bell. And then when he comes up, he's bleeding, but he's bleeding from his forehead.
Yes.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like, and again, taking nothing away, but it's just
the little.
I look at I was expecting him to be bleeding from head to toe at some point in this match because again, he's fighting for his damn career. And the little things he did, he's up on the top rope when Swerve's about to do, I think it was an angle slam. I don't know. It was weird looking what he did, but Danielson's reaching out to his family as he's picking him up. When he's stomping on him, He's crawling over to his family. He took 2 house calls. Then he's looking at his family, gets another one, kicks out. He's getting kicked in the chest. And he's like, I love you so much. He kicked him. I love you so much. I love you so much. I love you so much. Just, this is what I say. When you get invested into a character, Swerve and Bryan Danielson had that crowd eating out of the palm of their hand on every move that they were doing. Why? Because they were invested in what the match meant.
Absolutely, man. And if you remember, if you notice, there was a part where Swerve actually went like this as well, and the crowd was saying no. So it's like every little detail was working. Now, did he bleed a little bit early? If I had to critique it, I think I should have seen Swerve bleed as well. That's just what I feel, because it's kind of like, hey, two big, powerhouses going after each other. One is trying to defend his belt, and the other one's trying to not retire, trying to continue his career. I just felt maybe Swerve should have bled a little bit. The first time I ever will probably say that in AEW. But overall, I thought overall it was good. And like you said, I like the fact that Swerve would go and mess with his family, and then obviously Bryan Danielson would be like, no, I'm not giving up. And then the continue, even the fact that they brought in Hangman Page to throw like a
I was gonna say that was the distraction that was needed in the match. Because I was wondering, I was like, what is going on? Because it kind of lulled for a minute. You see him, he's doing the nose, and then all of a sudden it's kind of like, I'm like, what is going on here? Why is it taking a minute? And then it just exploded. He comes crashing through. I mean, it was perfect by Hangman because everybody's eyes went that way.
And you want to know something, Sean? Look, you got to understand one thing. AEW doesn't have...
Give me 1 minute. Keep going, Frankie. I'll be right back.
Okay. One thing, guys, that I like is that AEW does not have the same history as WWE. So you're not going to have, the surprise John Cena, the surprise Undertaker. You don't have that. All you have is ways to distract the crowd. And by bringing in Hangman Page, there's a feud between him and Swerve that creates some type of distraction, which gave the opportunity to Bryan Danielson to come in and go for the victory. On top of that, not only by him coming in and distracting, now us as the AEW fans, we're like, okay, cool. What's going to happen now? Like, is Swerve going to go ahead and address Hangman again? Is Swerve going to go ahead and say, hey, I lost because Hangman interrupted and I got distracted and now I have to come in and I should get a rematch? See, this is what we want. This is what we want from AEW. We want them to create storylines that show us or keeps us intrigued, because now you have Bryan Danielson. And for me, guys, I don't know about you guys, but I was happy Bryan won because I want him to go on a run. And then once he loses, that's it. It's over. It's time for him to retire. Kind of like Sting, when he went ahead and he did his run and he won his belt, and the tag team belt with Darby Allin. And we got to see Sting today. And not to mention that eventually when Bryan Danielson retires, we're going to go ahead and have Bryan Danielson in AEW from time to time, just like what they did with Sting. So that's what I thought about that match. I thought they nailed it. I think they did a really, really good job. I love the fact that the Blackpool Combat Club came out, took out his family. He had his kids out there. He had his wife out there. I thought that was awesome. Like, dude, it's like you're getting sold for what Bryan Danielson brings to the table. Not only him, but his whole family. And the whole fact that everybody, you, me, the fans, the crowd, everybody, you're screaming yes. You're saying yes. Bryan Danielson's career is not over just yet. That's what I loved about it. We were invested. Now we got to see what happens. Now we got to see if Swerve is going to go after Hangman. Is he going to go ahead and try to ask for a rematch against Bryan Danielson because of the whole situation? I don't know yet, but at least they created some type of storyline that you could feed off of and be like, okay, cool. There's something more to it than just a match where it was, hey, he won and he lost. That's it. Let's move on to who's the next opponent. It brings some type of like, hey, mystique. Hey, what's going to happen next? We don't know. And I think that's what we loved about that match. You're back, Sean?
About the whole pay-per-view. Yeah. And again, I didn't get to hear everything you're saying there. I just heard the ending of it. But there's so much to go off of after this pay-per-view. It was definitely one of the better produced and production-wise from AEW. But
I think the thing is, Sean, is what I was kind of saying while you were gone was they're creating in some of these matches storylines that could continue on. Like there's certain matches that yes, you could just have a winner and a loser and you move on from that match.
Yes, and
but
that happens everywhere, by the way. And we're not picking on. I want to be transparent here. We're not picking on, the AEW way. It's just to us, or at least to me, and this is where I'm going to say is from me, is I am more into, and maybe it's because I grew up on WWE, I grew up on the WCW and everything there. I'm used to the storylines being more than just to one pay-per-view. Not every storyline, but there are longer storylines. And I felt like AEW was recently a lot of smaller storylines. Let's get to a pay-per-view. Let's get to the next pay-per-view. Okay, and this one just felt like for the long run, it delivered from, week in and week out to me on the way they did this. And the builds were good.
And you know something, Sean, if you kind of look at it, AEW doesn't get crazy ass numbers when it comes to Dynamite or Collision anymore, any of that stuff. Where they're gonna get most of the numbers, especially for this event, because this event is kind of like usually their their WrestleMania. You get a lot of views, you get a lot of eyes, so a lot of people are looking at it. If you're smart about it, you create intrigue to the point where you're like, oh crap, let me tune in now to Dynamite. That way I could see what happens next. And then their Dynamite numbers will increase. Their Collision, their Rampage, whatever will increase. And that was
baby steps at this point, man.
Yeah,
man. Take baby steps and
look at the match before. So you had the whole Darby Allin, Jack Perry. And it was so good because of the simple fact that Jack Perry, obviously, when he took out the bag, he had a whole bunch of glass broken. And then you saw the references of what happened last year. And then you also went ahead and you got the crowd chanting FU CM Punk or CM Punk FU or something like that. So it was good. And then on top of that, they've been using this whole fire thing, which in my eyes, I thought it was a little bit exaggerating. But I liked the fact that Jack Perry won. And then they try to burn him. I was like, okay, cool. It makes freaking sense why he's trying to return it. And then you got Sting. You were able to get Sting to come out. He didn't have to do crazy things. He just did his promo, left, messed up with the Young Bucks, and then moved on. And I
do feel like that match got cut a little bit of time.
But you know what?
It was very violent, and it was good for what everything they did. It just, a lot of the stuff felt a little rushed. And then it was like what, 2 minutes into the match, I think his hands were already tied.
He was.
It was just like, and again, but also too, when you look at this, is Jack Perry, I think, needed that. The Jack Perry character needed that type of win to keep it going. I mean, when he came out in the scapegoat, dude, I thought that was, again, the production of this one was just so good, dude. It was like, and it Jeff from Long Island, appreciate you. Cat for Life's in there in the chat as well. I mean, I just thought maybe they were a little bit short on time, possibly, but
that actually helped them, Sean.
It did deliver. It might have, but it just, like, I don't know, man. It was odd to me because I thought, for as crazy as Darby is, and he took his crazy bumps, there was never that, oh shit moment from Darby.
But you don't need that.
I know that. But again, he does all this on Dynamite. No, he doesn't put thumbtacks on his face, but everything else we've seen.
Yeah, true.
You didn't get that oh shit moment from him on pay-per-view. And again, I don't know that it needed to be there. I'm just saying that was the one thing I took away from that was this was one of the first ones where Darby's not hanging upside down, getting super kicked with thumbtacks on shoes, getting thrown off of ladders through glass. There was not that oh shit moment from Darby. I thought we were going to get it.
Did you miss that?
They were going to set him on fire. I thought we were going to get it for a minute.
Did you miss that from Darby? Because I didn't. I didn't miss it.
I don't think I did, but I believe, again, some people were complaining about the time of the match, but again, that's what happens though on these events. You can't always go And I think this happened last year. If I'm not mistaken, there was an issue at All In where people were stranded because the buses or trains or whatever it is stops running at a certain time in London.
Mm-hmm.
So people couldn't get out because they went so damn long.
Mm.
And that was another thing. Kudos to 4 hours, 4-hour show. It was right at 4 hours. It went off the air. Maybe,
but it's not because they planned it. I think it's because they still got the Taylor Swift concert coming on in a couple of hours. So they gotta get out of there now and then have everything breaking down. That way Taylor Swift can have her concert. I think that's the reason why they cut it at 4.
Maybe that's more why. But I know last year it just felt like this year might have felt better too because it was just so quick.
Yes,
everything was like back to back. You got the little package, and then it rolled to the next one. Package, rolled to the next one. Package, enough to. I wish they would have took a little more time and cleaned some of the streamers after they went out. But hey, it is what it is, man. It is what it is. I'm nitpicking now, buddy. I'm nitpicking. But damn, man, I wish Darby would have gotten a little bit more of an oh shit, but I did not miss it, and I'm glad Jack Perry got the win because it was one of my few wins tonight.
Did you like Sting coming back and helping out Darby?
I like the entrance the way it came out. Yeah, because he saved Darby from career getting
burned,
set on fire.
Yeah.
I'm glad they didn't bring him out like it during the match. I just think it would have taken away a little bit. I think it was good the way it did. Yes, he saved him at the end. Perfect.
You still gave Jack Perry his win, and then you also allowed Sting to shine.
And a convincing win, too. That's the thing. A convincing win in a match that Darby Allin had never lost.
Correct.
So you hit a couple of theirs.
Now somebody's asking us, Cat for Life said, thoughts on Mercedes Moné. And that was the match right before Darby Allin and Jack Perry. So let's talk about it because you and me, I text messaged you and I said, hey, it was kind of like a lackluster. But the reason we said it was I was saying it was lackluster is because 100% of what you're saying before you stepped up for a minute, they had to live up to that Will Ospreay.
Just saw Will Ospreay.
It's hard. Like, let me ask you this. If you were Tony Khan, would you have scheduled that match right after the Will Ospreay MJF match? Or would you have probably slotted in somewhere else? Because I know you're trying to give the
only question is, I don't know where you slide that in at then.
Because I know he's trying to give
now you gave two matches in between Ospreay, MJF, and Bryan Danielson Swerve. So you gave a little bit of that breather room so that you could have them. You know what I'm saying? And then let me see where we have anything else here.
Should they have opened this pay-per-view with that match with Mercedes Moné?
No. I think the trios I thought actually was not my pick. We did end up going back and picking them. I had what did I have? I had Tony Storm opening, right?
Yes, you had the Tony Storm. I had
the tag team, right?
The Gauntlet
the Casino Gauntlet, yeah.
The Gauntlet.
But I think they did good. I think the trios, the ladder match lived up to goodness, and it got it started good because of the crazy spots. The problem with Mercedes Moné and Britt Baker, and when I say problem, I think the problem with the crowd was you just saw such athleticism from Ospreay. And then you have MJF and all his, all the stuff that they do. Then again, you get a quick little break, and then it's Mercedes Moné and Britt Baker, and it's a different thing that you saw. I don't think they did a bad match. I thought the match was good. Did they have their issues during the match? Yeah, they don't work a lot together. They might need to work on the chemistry a little bit more. But overall,
Here's the thing.
But see, here's the one thing I will say this. I think what could have saved this match.
I think I know where you're going with this.
Go ahead. Were you gonna say? Is that what you were gonna say? Go ahead. You say it then.
They needed Jamie Hayter to come out in that match. Like,
instead of having Camille at the beginning jump on Britt and then she came down. I would not have brought her out at 0 hour.
Why did they bring her 0 hour? I mean, I get that they wanted the crowd.
Tried to distance her. I think they tried to distance her from DMD. Because also when Camille is out there in the thing, and why wouldn't she just come down then? If it's going to be that, she could have still made her way down because Camille was getting into the match. So you could have center down. I think you're going to see they're going to try to separate them a little bit so they get a little bit more top talent in the women's division. I'm guessing. I don't know,
Yeah,
because
but
it doesn't make sense to me. Why would you not?
You're hit it on the spot. I think if they would have brought Jamie Hayter to help out Britt Baker. You don't need to separate them. We love them as it is. They've been gone. How long has Jamie Hayter been gone for? Like a year? So I could understand you trying to push Jamie Hayter, or maybe you could push Britt Baker, but they're still friends. But they don't have to. They can help each other out. They don't have to stick together. But at least in this big of an event, this big moment, leading up to a fight, this fight that had just destroyed, like they went all out, Will Ospreay and MJF, and everybody was an amazing match. And then you have this fight, and you don't have like anything. I mean, even in the Will Ospreay MJF,
that's the difference.
Danny Garcia come out.
This match was just a match. That's what happened. It was just a match for a title.
That's
and they tried to get it, but I think also the other problem is this, man. You have Camille out there who could be, this era's China in a way, and you have her fight small all the time. Like she should not be fighting small. But again, what do I know? I'm sitting here at home talking about it on a computer show, so on a podcast. So, but I just felt like, again, in the big scheme of things, that was just a match.
Yes, and that hurt.
A match for a title.
It would have probably not be needed if it wasn't following MJF versus Will Ospreay. If it was another match, okay, maybe you didn't need all that, Jamie Hayter to come out or anything like that.
Let me ask you this, Frankie. Okay, when you look back at the big matches on this card, Swerve and Bryan Danielson, you were invested by the buildup, right?
Yes.
Tony Storm and Mariah May.
Invested, yes.
MJF, Will Ospreay.
Invested, yes.
DMD and CEO.
Yes and no. Yes and no.
Yes and no. So it's that.
It's not as much as invested as the other ones, yes, but I was still invested in it. Like
I wanted to see it. I wanted to see it and everything else. And I think, again, I'm looking through the matches here. I don't know where the only way they could have done it was maybe replace the Tony Storm one and move that into that spot. But
correct,
then does that match turn out the same way as it did being in the spot it was in? Yeah, because up until that MJF Will Ospreay, I thought that was the match of the night.
I agree. Well, I like that one in the Gauntlet. The Gauntlet was good. The
Gauntlet had again, but it was a lot of spots and back and forth. Whereas the stories and the meaning behind the match, and of course Danielson ranks up there too. But it was so funny how every one of the matches that had you invested just really hooked you in this.
It did, man. It did.
And then when you watched the Tony Storm one, it was the Will Ospreay MJF match all over again, right?
Yeah.
He hits her with the shoe. She wins.
Yeah.
Couldn't do it. Couldn't bring herself to it. And it cost her.
Yeah. And then like in the Will Ospreay
that is, by the way, Tony Khan's babyface move. Think about this. Every time there's been a babyface going for a championship or a win or something, and they've got to do something, it's always I can't pull myself to do it. And then
whoa, don't say that.
And then the heel does it and wins.
But hold on a second. But Will Ospreay
tonight did it, yes, because Bryan Danielson came to him and said, "Do it."
Okay.
He was told, "Do it."
Okay.
Think about it. That match beforehand, it was what was the one before that? Damn it! There was another one where it was like, is he gonna do it? Is he gonna do it? No, he waited too long and he got. It's like it always happens that way, man. Mm-hmm. That's his go-to. That's his go-to move. It's not a bad thing. It's just now, again, that's one of those things where when we're predicting matches, you got to look at that and go, oh, well, it could go this way, but it sure as hell could go this way as well.
Yeah, man. Yeah, absolutely. And then let's talk about that Will Ospreay.
Yes,
obviously MJF. Sir, talk to me, man. Did this match live up to expectation compared to their first meeting in Dynamite? 250, or did it exceed it?
It exceeded. It started slow, and then it exceeded it. It started slower than I thought it would, just because of all of the. That's one of the things that gets me about pro wrestling too, in a way, is that you get all this stuff, all this talking, and all this, running down the family and doing all this stuff, and then you stand there and wait to be introduced and play to the crowd and everything else, instead of just walking in and just punching the mofo right in the face. You know what I'm saying? And then it's like, and then like the announcers are like, oh, there's going to be a feeling out process. Why? They just went 58 minutes and 58 seconds the other night. Why is there a feeling out process now? But started slow, but god damn did it exceed expectations after that, man.
Yeah, man. I'm not gonna lie, I love the MJF kind of Apollo Creed type of look when he first came out. That was pretty cool. I like that. And the entrance for Will Ospreay was pretty badass too. They both did a really good job.
They did the Assassin's Creed. I guess there's a
yes,
out or
that's from the game. That's originally a game.
Yeah. Because so even Assassin's Creed UK retweeted out the entrance and was like, "This is badass."
And that was cool. Like when I saw that, I was like, "Holy crap!" But then, yes, absolutely, they started slow, but man, did they freaking deliver! Like it was like move after move. And then obviously the nostalgia with Danny Garcia. We were talking about Adam Cole.
Here's the other thing though, too. Here's the one thing too. He digs into his trunks and they're like, I thought his diamond ring, and then he pulls out the brass knucks or whatever you want to call it. And
it was like white, wasn't it? Wasn't it like white or something?
It
looks weird.
It's tape. It's good. It's brass knucks. It's not a real brass knucks, right? All right, it's the pro wrestling brass knucks. All right.
I was like, what is this?
They went all independent wrestling brass knucks on us on that one. And then Daniel Garcia shows up, and I'm like, oh man, this is the one thing. You know what? The one thing I wish they would have done now, thinking back on this, is when he's looking at him, he's like, you son of a. If he would have reached in a pocket and then pulled out the ring and just showed it to MJF.
Yes.
I think that would have been the only but then, now that I think about it, what on AEW Dynamite, he calls out Daniel Garcia, and they go back and forth talking or whatever, and Daniel Garcia whispers something into his ear, goes to leave, and then says, oh yeah, Max, here you go, and hands him the ring and then leaves. Like, because of what he uses. And real quick, Jeff, look forward to seeing you at Walk-Ons. I see your message there, buddy. Look forward to seeing you when you're there.
The other thing I liked about this is because now that leads up to all out. So obviously it's supposed to be now, hopefully, MJF versus Danny Garcia, which would be a very good match, because I wanted to see that match. So it should be good. Plus, I mean, look, they did their move.
One more thing real quick before you go on about the All Out. That is the one thing too that you're looking at from All In. They only have 1 week.
Yes.
Or 2 shows. I'm sorry. They'll be this week and then the week after. So you have two Wednesday nights to solidify all this stuff. And if you look at All Out right now, at least the way I'm looking at it, I believe this is what you're going to get. Swerve and Adam Page.
Yes.
MJF, Daniel Garcia.
Yes.
Will Ospreay and Pac.
Yes.
Bryan Danielson, Christian Cage. Does he cash in that quick?
Couldn't be.
Because he wins the gauntlet, and we'll discuss that in a little bit. But it's
Willow and Chris Statlander.
Willow and Chris Statlander. That's right. That'll be another match. So a lot of things have again, from one to the next, you already got stories built up that you can build on from this pay-per-view going to the next one that's only 2 weeks away.
Yeah, and you know what? I don't want to jump the gun, but when you said Christian, if you look back and see, this is what I'm trying to kind of like, put each storyline in with the other. Obviously, you saw Killshot get upset with Christian, but Christian still won the gauntlet. So now they could kind of incorporate that to cost Christian if he decides to challenge in All Out.
Yeah, the only thing
Killshot could get involved.
This is the only thing I didn't like about that. And I know, listen, we only got a little bit of time here because I'm on a time crunch, so I apologize. That's kind of why we're jumping around here. I like that he came out the Luchasaurus. The music, okay? But then here's the thing that I wish they would have done. Luchasaurus goes to hit Christian. Christian gets out of the way or moves. He hits the other person. and then goes. Instead of him just choke slamming Kyle O'Reilly and then Christian on top, what if he would have went in to nail Christian, but Christian got out of the way somehow, and he nails Kyle O'Reilly, and then Christian just gets, and then somebody else can pull Luchasaurus out, and then Christian gets the pin, and then it's like, oh, did he help him or did he not?
Yeah.
I just felt like you just, I don't know, man. I'm the one that went 5-7 in these picks, okay? Well, technically 5 and 6. Technically 5 I went 6-5. I went really 5-6-5, but I get the point for Ricochet. I get a win and a loss in the same match. I'm not sure how that works.
You did predict somebody was going to come out to that match, so that was good. But
and by the way, we're not giving that enough kudos. Ricochet, I believe in the little bit of time Ricochet was in that ring in AEW, he showed more, not more, but a different variety of his moveset than what they allowed him to do at WWE.
But then I went online and I was watching, and then people were already criticizing it, saying, "Oh, look, they brought in Ricochet and he loses his match." Like, come on, man. Like, dude, like you wanted to showcase him. That's what you wanted to do. And
they showed it's going to be a different Ricochet in AEW.
And we all at one point in time want to see Ricochet versus Will Ospreay, because
that's the match you want to get to.
That's the match you want to get to. There's just certain matches you want to get into. So, I think they did a really, really good job with that.
I have no problem with it. I would have liked them to win it just because I would have got points for it. But it is what it is. I don't think he didn't get pinned. He got taken out of the match, and then dude, it's a gauntlet match. What are you going to do? Like it's not like it's an eliminator match where everybody gets pinned and he got pinned. He didn't figure he really didn't figure into the finish. And I loved Evil Uno's retweet at the end of the match, a tweet at the end of the match, by the way.
What did he do? What did he say?
Damn it, I was next.
That's good. That was good. What you think about the gauntlet match? Talk to me about the gauntlet match.
I liked. I wrote down exactly how they came out too. Here, let me find it here.
I'm gonna tell you something though. I love Okada, bro. I love
Okada. The fact that they started those two.
Yeah,
and just the little things he does, and the fact that he can go if he wants to. That's the thing. If he wants to go, he can go. If not, he just sits there and he flips the bird.
Yeah, that was the best part.
It's just like, hey, and then I love the Nigel McGuinness.
Bro, what a curveball, right?
That was a curveball. And the fact that, I know he was beloved over there because, like we were wrestling around the same time and you knew the name and because of Ring of Honor and everything else like that. But man, and then Zack Sabre Jr. was a great addition to it for the G1. He won the G1 Climax tournament. And then the other guys you had, I thought it was good to bring out Jeff Jarrett. Why not? He's been getting pops all weekend. Give it to him, man. Big Bill got the same thing. Then you had the Ricochet one, of course, then Christian Cage, and then Luchasaurus at the end, which ended up helping out. There, I didn't have a problem with anything that happened in that match. I thought everybody got their little move sets in. Then they got out of the way. There was nothing crazy enough to where you're like, oh, that was silly to do in this type of match. I thought it was very well produced match-wise as far as everybody getting their stuff in equally, really. Nobody really, outshined anybody. And then
did you like the victor? Did you agree
I did not like the victory. I was kind of like, really? Christian Cage out of that?
Yeah.
But again, I don't know if it's more because of I wanted Ricochet to win once he was introduced, or I was looking at it going, okay, but I did tell you if Hangman didn't win that, I figured Bryan Danielson was probably going to win. Yeah. Because to me, that's kind of like All Out should have been Swerve and Hangman. If Hangman wins that, then I see Swerve keeping the title, was what my thought process was. And when he didn't win that, I was like, okay, let's see how this goes, because I feel like that's the next match for Swerve.
So who do you think should have won that match? Nigel McGuinness, baby. Nigel McGuinness should have won that one.
But see, you know what though? Now that Bryan Danielson won, yes.
Yeah.
Because then that gives you Nigel McGuinness against Bryan Danielson.
The problem is that you don't get the same pop for Nigel McGuinness.
Not only that, but also the problem is going to be is that, like, look, man, I get it. He's in shape and he's probably been wrestling and rolling around in the ring for a little bit, but that's different, man. When you got to go in there, and he did a tremendous job. But again, it's a gauntlet match to where you can cover up things too.
You know why?
You know, it's not one-on-one to where, hey, you're flying by the seat of your pants your first time back. But man, I hope it means that he's actually going to wrestle more. I hope this isn't a one-off, is what I'm saying. I hope, he works his way back in. I'm not saying he needs to wrestle every week, but I would love to see him figure in more. And then now the fact that he could wrestle, it's one of the things that, like with Adam Pearce and Nick Aldis, both of them can still go.
Yes.
If they wanted to. So why can't you I would make Nigel McGuinness my authority figure. And if he needs to establish authority, he puts himself in a match with that person.
You know what? That makes perfect sense. He should be the general manager for AEW.
Why not?
Make him not this guy that they have. What's the guy? The bald guy. I forgot. The one who handed Christopher Daniels. Because Christopher Daniels looks lost out there. He looks like he's
he's the baby face one, and that's the thing with like Adam Pearce.
You need somebody with authority.
Well, you need the gray area guy. Like Adam Pearce is a baby face, but he's not baby face enough to where he's like, to me, Christopher Daniels is that rah guy. And like you're just like, dude, he's always been a baby face.
Yeah, but
and that's the way you look at him. And then when you watch him do stuff, like, I'm Tony Khan's right-hand man. Yeah.
Yeah, nah, man. You gotta go and put.
And by the way, congratulations to Will Ospreay. He's the new international champion. The international championship is back. He would not even touch the American championship.
I like that.
I was a little upset that he would not lay hands on the American heavyweight championship there, though. Are you too good for the red, white, and blue?
And now you're coming to the United States. We should boo his ass out of here.
Yes.
How dare he?
Yes. Hashtag cancel Will Ospreay.
There you go. And again, you bring all that stuff together because now you're going to be in All Out and it's going to be here in the States. So now we could boo your ass and you know what? If they're smart about it, he could go ahead and actually, but he's such a baby face. They're going to keep him as a baby face. But if they were smart, you could kind of play with it on Wednesday on Dynamite and be like, yeah, I didn't want the United States belt, and then see what the crowd says. Does the crowd say boo, or does the crowd say, okay, cool, no problem, we agree with it because we don't like MJF because he's a douchebag? I'm not gonna lie to you. I did also like the fact that when Mariah May kissed Nigel McGuinness in the forehead, that was probably the inspiration that Nigel McGuinness needed in order to come back.
Yes.
So you can even put him with her in some type of form.
It's not a bad thing. Not a bad thing.
You see these little things that they did that you're like, oh, okay, makes freaking sense. Like, why did this
and again, that could mean something and it could not. But the fact that they did it, you go, let me put it in the back of the memory. That's the little eggs that we always talk about, when we talk about, like, half the time they don't mean anything, but you have it back there to when you go back and you go, oh, yeah, that's right. Now, if Nigel McGuinness does become an authority figure and Mariah May needs a favor, what I'm saying? Like, it's like there's always these little eggs that you can have planted in there to make it, mean something. When again, it might not mean anything, but that's what the awesome part about wrestling is, man. Is like, you do something 2 years ago and you're like, you know what, at that time we didn't mean it to mean anything, but now we can really play it back and play it and make it like, hey, this is why we did it.
And while you were gone, I mentioned it. AEW does not have the same tenure as WWE. Yeah. So you can't bring an Undertaker or John Cena and all of us have that nostalgic moment, be like, oh my God, So they have to start creating this, especially if they're going to go on for a long time. They have to create it in another form of fashion. And this is the perfect way. These little moves, these little, moments that in a couple years, you'll be like, holy crap, yeah, I remember All In London when they did the same thing, stuff like that, because it really does sell eventually. So
now, a couple things I did see that cracked me up on X was somebody, when Ricochet showed up, was like, oh my God, how could they? WWE doesn't own his name. WWE doesn't own everybody's name. They own most of their names. But that was one of the things when Triple H was in NXT and he brought in Ricochet, Adam Cole, Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn was technically El Generico before, so technically it's not really the same thing. Kevin Owens. A lot of guys that were, actually Kevin Owens not the same thing because he was Kevin Steen outside.
That's true.
But he let a lot of the independent guys keep their name. Adam Cole, Roderick Strong, as I said, Kyle O'Reilly, Bobby Fitt, all the Undisputed Era had kept their name. So there was a time where they were letting them, it was not a thing that WWE did, but they did allow them to keep their name from the independents. And I don't think, and obviously they did not lock in the name, which might be another one of the issues that there might have been having, because they might have wanted to lock in the name and they didn't. But so, yeah, I just saw little things like that on X when there was like, really? Like, that's what you're worried about when you see this guy show up? Like WWE didn't have his name? Like,
well, like you heard that, and then I heard the fact that, hey, why didn't he win? And I was like, come on, man. Like, he showcased himself. He did you saw his ability, which is now he's going to be unleashed in AEW, hopefully, to the point where we're going to be like, oh, okay, we see the progress of Ricochet. The only thing is they got to keep momentum. You understand? I mean, you keep pushing him, keeping him relevant, because sometimes they tend to fall out a little bit. But they, I got to give him kudos. Okada's doing pretty well, even though they gave him a belt. Mercedes Moné doing pretty well herself. Now, having Britt Baker, but remember, this is like their big Super Bowl when it comes to All In. I want to see how they do afterwards.
Where it goes from there. But then also the other thing too with Ricochet is this, and somebody kind of hit the nail on the head when they said this. He left WWE where only like 20% of the wrestlers could do the movesets he did.
Yes.
Now he's in AEW where probably 70% of the wrestlers can do. Maybe not the exact. Now, don't get me wrong. But I'm talking about high flyers. There's a lot more high flyers in AEW than there is in WWE. Does he stand out, or what does he have to do to stand out?
Yes, he'll still stand out, because look at Will Ospreay.
Mm-hmm.
Will Ospreay, even though there's a whole bunch of high flyers, Will Ospreay stands out every single time. And if you create a story for Ricochet could be very, very a very, very good addition to the AEW roster, in my opinion. Wonder how much they paid him, but I like it. I'm excited to see. I'm excited to see the unleashed Ricochet, the one that is known for
paid well, but I don't think he got paid what everybody else is making. But also, again, this is a chance for him to unleash Ricochet. That again, as I was saying before, is like, yeah, the money's nice, but when you're not able to use your full potential, you're kind of stuck with what you're going to make, because they're not going to let Ricochet get past that ceiling, because in order to get past that ceiling, he's got to be his full potential, and they're not going to allow you in WWE to do that.
No.
You know what I'm saying? And that's the thing. And it's going to be interesting, because the other part of this is with the Ricochet thing, talking about is when the Lucha Brothers go there. I can't wait to see how that works out. Yeah. Because again, that is not, but again, I'm also looking at this as the older WWE. Does Triple H start to change that a little bit? Because it didn't look like he did that with Ricochet. It doesn't look like he's taken a lot of the reins off of the high flyers. There's more high flying now than there was, but there's still none of the craziness.
True.
So,
what you think about, obviously, the tag match between the Young Bucks, FTR, and the Acclaim?
I thought it was a good tag team match.
What about those guys that came out at the end?
Grizzled Young Vets.
Yeah, who I don't know them.
They were from NXT, and then they went out and they've wrestled on AEW before,
okay.
And then they've wrestled with TNA as well.
So they probably might set them up, I'm assuming, for All Out. Maybe that could be the match.
Maybe them and FTR in the kickoff show or in the 0 hour, maybe.
Okay.
It looked like they went after FTR afterwards. So I'm guessing it's going to be them and FTR. I'm guessing. I don't think that's going to be a Dynamite. I got to believe they'll probably run that at the, again, but I don't know if they're going to do as many, many matches 0 hour as they did in London, just because you got a 16-man tag, a 10-man tag, and then the Willow match.
And then a Jamie Hayter match.
And then Jamie Hayter came out a little bit before, yeah. And then the last 10 minutes of it was the entrances to the triple threat.
We could talk about that for a split second too, because that was funny. You see that the countdown was at 2 minutes, and you see them all just standing out there.
They're just like, okay, all right, yeah, here we go. Yep.
And that was the issue. Why didn't, like, I know you got to kind of plan it on point because
but honestly, you know what I thought they were gonna do? I thought they were gonna do the I don't know what the London is the national anthem. Is it "God Save the Queen"? Is that the anthem or what? Maybe they could have done that and then like maybe the national anthem and then done the introductions, because it just felt like, and then also like when they started Christian in them, it was 3 minutes to go and I'm like, these guys are hauling ass to the ring.
Yes.
Like I'm like, they're not stopping. I was waiting for them like to stop and then all of a sudden nothing. It was just like right to the ring. I was like, is this supposed to, like, you're 2 minutes and 20 seconds from going live? And
well, they could have also just had the announcer come out there and say, okay, triple threat match, and announce each one quickly. Like, hey, the first challenger is these guys, second challenger is these guys, and the defending champions these guys, to try to kind of kill time before the clock, because it was.
But then you have to do it again when the pay-per-view starts.
No, you don't.
I didn't count. This is the real introduction, ladies and gentlemen.
But yeah, man. I mean, that I thought the Young Bucks deserved to win it. I thought that was a smart move for them. Yeah. And I also, obviously, with the skateboard, him winning, it makes sense. They keep the Young Bucks in that whole,
They actually did more for the Elite tonight than they did for like the last 4 weeks of shows.
And remember what I told you? I had the Young Bucks winning because they lost it last year. So I would be surprised if they would lose back-to-back all-ins. I just didn't I didn't see it that way. But I thought it was a good match. It was a good match. It wasn't bad.
Yeah, no, and everybody got their stuff in, and there was a lot of good, cool tag team moves, a lot of cool breakups of pins, jumping off the rope, hitting the opponent, pushing them into the other things. I'm not saying it was perfectly executed, but the thought process of it was pretty cool. I liked a lot of the stuff that they did there. Timeless Tony Storm,
the second.
They're just.
Second match of the night, probably.
I mean, the fact that she slapped her mom and she went and then the blood. Once Mariah May started bleeding, I said, "Damn it!" I think I texted you. I said, "Damn it, Mariah May is winning this thing," because I knew that is the shot. When she's bleeding, holding the belt, I was like, "That's the shot they're gonna get, man." Damn it! And then it was going back and forth. I was like, "Oh man, maybe I got this," and then she couldn't hit her with the goddamn shield. What the hell, man?
She should have hit her with the shoe. God damn it!
So good, but then you noticed as she's leaving, she's laughing, she's crying, she's laughing, she's crying. Story's just beginning, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
It's so good to see how I'm very interested to see where they go with this, because man, like you could go. We talked about this, because in the movies, it's you have your friend, the friend turns on you, then you go through a little bit of the turmoil. And then the happy ending. Now the story is, does Tony Storm, actually it's this, can she weather the storm that she's going to go through now to get the happy ending of her story? And that's going to be awesome to watch if they play it out that way.
The only thing I'm a little bit upset, even though Tony Storm was not my pick, I was happy that my pick won, was the fact that we're not going to get the Tony Storm the recap, the press conference, because she would do some amazing after show where she'll go.
Mariah May said she's going to go after she wins the title. She will pose nude in her pool.
Oh wow! Okay, all right. Well, that definitely.
So those we might have to take a look at that. She said she's going to pose with the belt by her pool with no bikini.
Woo! Jesus Christ, Mariah May is hot. Not gonna lie.
So you have to see and check out that. So she may have won over people just for that. I think everybody's cheering for her just for that.
If I knew that, I would have absolutely. I definitely would have gone ahead and cheered for that from day one. Overall, it's time to go to go the bathroom break. So you could talk about Chris Jericho and a Hook.
Well, here's my question. I wrote this down. This was my comment. As soon as I was like, the pay-per-view's not long enough, we get a Fozzy concert.
Let's just keep it real.
And then Tony Khan messed me up and went 4 hours. I was like, dude, I forgot about the time crunch. I forgot the Taylor Swift concert. I've said this before, man. Like, Chris Jericho should only wrestle on the pay-per-views. But since he wrestles every other week on Dynamite, it just doesn't mean anything. And this has gone on way too long. I'm just glad Taz locked in the Taz mission, Hook locked in his, and it's over. He's the FTW champion. Let's move on. F on.
You could still keep the learning tree, but just move on from Hook.
Yes.
Let Hook do his thing.
Because Hook has nobody else. Samoa Joe's filming the thing. Shibata apparently has gone Texan. Yep. He's with all the Texan guys now. So, I mean, Hook's got nobody. What are you going to do now with him in the learning tree?
Yeah. Let it go with the learning tree.
Yep. And then I think that's pretty much.
Yeah, we
there. 0 Hour. What'd you think of 0 Hour? The Willow Ishii win.
I was happy. I guess I was going for
happy. Willow. I know, because you picked her, but I've never seen a company give the baby face that stipulation.
Exactly. And that's what I loved about it.
It's like
difference.
Dude.
Different. I knew you were gonna be upset about that. I was so
happy.
I feel
like Willow's gonna be like, we're gonna have a pillow fight.
I mean,
we're happy.
Look, she's always got it the short end of the stick. Now it's her time to go ahead and pick the fight, man. Maybe Willow doesn't care and be like, you know what? I'll give you you could go ahead and pick the fight.
I mean, Stokely got carried on a golden bed. I mean, dude,
he had the Michael Jackson outfit, right?
Yeah, but he was carried in the bed on the thing. Man.
I mean,
dude,
again,
I can't believe you didn't let him beat Ishii. That's just
you cannot. Come on, man. They kept it real. There's no way Stokely was gonna out wrestle or beat Ishii. There's no way.
I wrote down the thing too. I wrote down. The announcements today. Forbidden Door London will be August 24th, 2025. And AEW Grand Slam Australia will be February 15th, 25. Both in stadiums. So they're doing more stadium shows next year. It's going to be interesting to see.
And both out of the country.
Both out of the country. Yes, that is, I believe, going to be key for them.
They need to.
I like it. I like it. I like what they're doing there.
I don't know. I didn't get a chance to look at their Dynamite numbers, but I'm hoping the Dynamite numbers did really well because that crowd. Once you have a really exciting crowd,
693.
Oh god damn it! All right, well, never mind. You just killed my.
Well, no, but here's the thing, though.
My momentum there.
You've got to build it and put together back to backs to keep them coming back. Like you've got to put back to back. Like I think that Dynamite, that crowd from Cardiff, and the crowd from All In London, I bet you'll see an increase on Dynamite this week.
Okay.
But will they take advantage of it and make people want to come back? That's going to be key, man. And I get it. You want to be different. But if that damn main event didn't show you that when people get invested in something, that they won't go through the damn roof, I don't know what will.
I mean, you got to see how it's going to change this week. If this week it changes, I mean, look, I'm not going to lie. The whole crowd doing the Bryan Danielson, yes, is amazing.
International crowds are a different vibe. I 100% agree with you. But if you're still giving the matches and the storytelling that you did leading up to All In, especially with the top 3 matches, I get it. You're not going to be able to do that forever. Every angle is not going to have a great story. But if you can do what you did this time and have your Mariah May, Tony Storm, Swerve, Bryan Danielson, MJF, Ospreay, even the Darby Allin, Jack Perry one had a good story as far as like each of them wanting to take each other out. I didn't necessarily, it's a little bit crazy trying to set somebody on fire, but it was there, but those three locked you in. So they got to do that. I'm not saying, look, I don't expect 2 hours of perfect angles and everything else. No, that's not, except that's unrealistic. But you've got to at least have 2 to 3 things that catch you. So when you do the 10-minute segments, that's 30 minutes of your show.
Yes. 100%.
And then again, if in a 2-hour show, you probably do maybe an hour and 20 minutes of show, maybe a little less. Because you probably do about, I think it's 33 minutes each, so about 63 minutes. If half of that is good invested product, then I think you're doing your job. Again, you're going to have your naysayers that AEW can do perfect shows, and they're going to be like, nope, they're no good. And you're going to have your same the other way around. If WWE did a perfect show, AEW fans will be like, no, not good. But if you can start breaking into some of those casual WWE fans that like WWE, but would also watch the other product, the same as what WWE does, where they get the casual AEW fans that just like wrestling and make sure they tune in every week. When you do that, then you're going to start growing.
100%, man. 100%. Now, I know the fans want to know about this. How did we do in our records today?
Oh, no, the fans don't want to know. Frankie Fresco wants to know. I know.
No, the fans want to know. They want to know how we did. I'm trying to keep count here.
Frankie Fresco went 9-2.
Yes, sir.
I went 6-5, but I get the extra point for Ricochet showing up. So I'm technically 7-5.
Okay.
And on the year, you are 12-6. I am 12-7.
Oh, so I took the lead.
I am a percentage point behind you on losses.
Yes.
Yes. So right now, I will be the one getting powerbombed through marshmallow foam.
So as of right now, that Bash in Berlin is going to be the thing.
Bash in Berlin is going to decide it.
Make or break one of us.
Make or break one of us.
Yes, sir.
Yep. So I'll be tuning into Raw and SmackDown this week to make sure I've got everything locked in. You working this Friday night?
Friday, I am not. I'm working Saturday. When is Bash in Berlin? Is it on Saturday?
Saturday afternoon, yes. Saturday afternoon show.
So I'm going to have to catch the replay because Saturday I am working.
We'll discuss off camera, but let them know how they can get you.
Yeah, you guys can find me at Fresco Music right there underneath. Subscribe, hit that like on my channel, the Frankie Fresco channel. I do the Let Me Talk to You with my brother, 8 o'clock. We talk all about sports. If you guys have any comments or any topics you want to talk about, just bring it up as well on the chat board, and we'll be more than happy to talk about it. But we typically talk about South Florida sports and some NXT. And you could always catch me and Sean, of course, Tuesdays on the Squared Circle Digest.
Will Ospreay 20 minutes ago retweets out, that felt so good when he dropped MJF on his head. Oh, and this is one thing I did write down on a note for about real quick. I'm sorry. To me, Ospreay takes a lot of bumps on his neck. And I don't know if that's a thing that he's always done because, again, but it looks like a lot of bumps are on his neck, man. That just, it's odd to me that.
Did you see the move where he gets like MJF on the rope and he does that flip on him and stuff like that? That was rough, bro. I was like, it was really good. It was really good stuff, but I was like,
star and then right onto the inside, yeah.
And then the one where he shot himself and then he kind of MJF grabbed him and then I think he did like a tombstone on him or something.
Yeah, outside the ring. Yeah,
yeah, that one. So those were the movements that you're like, damn, dude, these guys are just going all out.
Yeah, no, and they are. It's just, man, like when you bump that high up, because usually you're landing higher on your shoulder blades, where it looks like it's your neck, but you're inches away from just disaster, bro.
Well, doesn't Bryan Danielson do the same thing? Kind of. He takes a lot of bumps on the neck too.
Yeah,
so.
no, that's what I'm getting at. It's, and MJF did a lot of that tonight too, as well, especially the Tiger Driver. And again, you can get away with those. The problem is millimeters of inches changes, and now you're on your head.
Let me ask you this: when you take those type of bumps like that continuously on your neck, does it pile up eventually to the point where you start feeling?
It doesn't matter. Even if you don't do that, you're going to pile up. My neck hurts all the time.
Damn.
Because when you bump, you have to remember you're tucking your chin.
Gotcha.
So think about falling back, tucking your chin, and making sure your head don't go back. It takes neck muscles and everything else. So you're always, bracing your neck. It's like getting in a car wreck.
Ew.
But you're getting in a car wreck. That's what the worst part about it is.
That's the difference. Yeah.
That's the thing with wrestling is like, what's going to happen, but you still have to have your body like you're there to brace the fall, but you have to make it look like you're not bracing the fall.
Gotcha.
That's what makes it an art form. To make it, like for instance, what they used to do when we were older was you go to a convenience store or whatever, slip and fall. If you had somebody come to you and say, "Are you okay?" oh, then you're good. If you didn't pass.
100%. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So if you could get somebody to really, oh, damn, he's hurt, then you do your job. And that's what this is all about, man. And then you put your body that much on the line, man. And that's the way it's changed a lot. Think about this. Back in the day, a suplex. Harley Race used to use a standing suplex as his finish for a 3 count.
Wow.
Think about how much wrestling's changed now.
Yeah, big time.
You know what I'm saying? So that's where, again, you could wrestle a night. You could wrestle every night because you weren't doing what I'm watching the Will Ospreay Tiger Driver 99 over and over on a loop right now.
Can you watch?
You're not doing that. You can't wrestle every night anymore because your body's going through all this damn pounding, man. And you're bigger now. Those guys were, think about it think about the wrestlers back in the day. Like I'm not talking about WWE when it was the territory days. Like Lex Luger was like a phenomenal, was an admiration when it barely ever exists. A body like that, like you had big guys, but they weren't necessarily all muscular guys. You know what I'm saying? And then the muscular guys took over, and then Vince McMahon made it larger than life guys, and then now we're in this period that we're in now.
I like how you
athleticism.
I like how you reference Lex Luger because of he had also the United States trunks, just like
just
MJF.
just like JF.
I like it.
That was great. All right, you can catch me at Stanley Media _11 on X, Stanley Media House on IG and Threads, and of course Stanley Media House Network on YouTube and Facebook. Don't forget our show every Tuesday, 7 p.m. Myself, Frankie Fresco, the Squared Circle Digest here on the Stanley Media House Network YouTube channel, also on the Frankie Fresco YouTube channel, and on the Stanley Media _11 X channel. Everybody watching on X, we appreciate you. Please hit the like button, hit the follow button, jump over to YouTube. We're for Frankie Fresco or Stanley Media House Network. Hit that subscribe button. We're looking for subscribers. Please. We're trying to get to 1,500 each on our channels, and then we'll go for more. We'll set another goal after that. Frankie Fresco, I appreciate you spending your Sunday with me, your Sunday morning and your Sunday evening. We probably saw more of each other than we wanted to. But
no, we didn't.
I always love spending time with you, my man.
I love the fact that thank you for having me in the recap show. I heard you. I had seen your previous shows, your other recaps, and you're like, oh, I'm gonna do a recap of All In. I was like, I hope Sean tells me to join him because I got nothing else to do on Sunday except just chill and go to sleep. I'll probably go to sleep after this, after we're done.
I mean, you're traveling, you're a champ now. I don't know if you got time for little old me anymore. That's sooner or later I'm gonna be doing the Squared Circle Digest by myself. That's what's gonna happen.
I'm always.
Today I got Frankie Fresco to mix me an open at least. I have a champion mix me an open.
Yes, sir.
He is the great Frankie Fresco. I am Sean Stanley. And this was the Squared Circle Digest All in London reaction show. Don't forget, check us out every Tuesday, 7 p.m. Eastern live right here on Stanley Media House and the Frankie Fresco YouTube channel. Until then.
John Cena. Just like MJF did it. Did you see that?
No.
He did it when he was walking out. You go, like the John Cena.
Oh, did he do John Cena? There was a lot of
John Cena
tributes to people.
Yeah, he did do that. I know. If you guys didn't catch it, let me know. He did do it. He went like that.
Yeah, there's quite a few tributes to everybody throughout the show tonight, by the way. In the words of the great Gordon Soley, so long from the sun, shine. F you, CM Punk.